So thanks for coming today. We do have some exciting things to share and even unveil here today. And so let me just kind of dive in and give a little bit of my background. So back in 2009, I started a company. Some of the folks I talked to knew and had heard of 7 Summits. So what's important about what we're doing is every time some new technology comes out, you might not think Facebook was a technology, but now look at Meta and all of its large language models. Every time there was a shift in media, really new companies would show up and capitalize on that shift in the market, whether it was technology or media. And so we built 7 Summits over a course of about 10 years. We sold that business to IBM. It was a very large tech exit for the Wisconsin market. We sold the business to IBM at the end of 2020. We were one of those lucky companies that, because of what we did, creating these online communities for businesses, we were wanted at that time. And it's pretty crazy when IBM reaches out on LinkedIn and says, we want to buy this company. And so you better believe we sold it to them. So, and there's a lot of personal stories there. I have a boy who was autistic, and the whole reason I started that company was to take care of him and his trust. So his siblings didn't have to take care of it. So a true Midwestern home story. So I did pretty well on that transaction and thought, okay, I'm going to be done. And bought a nice forest in northern Wisconsin. I'm Wisconsin tried and true. And when I finally kind of changed my LinkedIn and said I had left IBM, I had an incredible outpouring from my employees, certainly, and I love hanging out with young people and coaching and teaching. But a lot of my original investors that helped fund that enterprise said, if you do something again. And I thought, yeah, well, I'm going fishing. And then ChatGPT came out. And I was like, oh, shit. You know, that's a big shift, and a big change is coming. And I knew what to do. And how do you take that whole playbook that we went through with the 7 Summits business and not do it again? And really what it comes down to is these are significant changes that can change markets, and companies are going to separate themselves. We used to joke about, you know, Blockbuster got Netflixed. A lot more of that is going to happen in this market. It'll be different, but a big change is coming. And a lot of people don't 100% understand the level of change that's about to happen and what they could do to step out as a business in a bigger way. And we're designing a business that is an augmented enterprise, and I'll tell you what that is. We're an augmented consultancy, and I'm gonna show you some crazy stuff today about what we're doing and what we're offering to some pretty large clients from that perspective. So let me start out by showing you, and I think everyone's heard of this, right? So Microsoft's building a $3.3 billion data center here for AI. They're going to invest in creating 100,000 AI jobs. They're going to train the people first, I'm sure, to run their data center, but then they're going to make a bigger imprint in terms of what's happening here. That's just the data center, but they're also building a supercomputer here that's probably going to round this number up closer to 10 billion, right? So these types of investments and shifts, I put them in here to just remind everybody that this isn't like transitory. When online communities came out and Facebook came out, Tom Snyder's in the front row, we talked, it's like, is this gonna stick? Are people really, I'm not gonna take a picture of my food and put it on Instagram and all this stuff, but if you look at what's happened with these businesses and the data they produce, they became major marketing channels, and the data around them is sought after. And so, you know, we've gone to a place where now we're not just driving AI forward and building things like ChatGPT. And I'm hoping, did everybody here know what ChatGPT is? I'm assuming everybody does, otherwise there's a door back here for you. But it's just, you know, you gotta get into this stuff and decide how it can change your business. But now we've gone from just these simple prompting engines to these multi-agent conversations, and we're gonna show you one today. So imagine if you didn't just have an agent on the phone, really smart. ChatGPT, really smart. It's like having a 150 IQ person or better. They know all the organic chemistry, all the physics. You can train these models on your business. And we've been training our own model that uses all of these models. It uses Meta, it uses their model, it uses Anthropic's Claude, which is what Amazon is using because they were a little bit caught off guard, so they partnered. Microsoft grabbed OpenAI, huge investment. They're building their own now. Google's got Gemini. We're using all of those. And we have a control agent. Think of a GPT that's very powerful, launching a swarm of agents to do things. This is where it's headed. Microsoft AutoGen and Crew AI, which we're using in our organization, we're going to demo something later. You know, these multi-agent conversations create real power in your business for what's possible. We're going to look at some use cases around that. Llama 3 is Meta's solution. This stuff has been coming a long time, and everybody keeps leaping each other. And it's the number of parameters you can handle in your context window went from ChatGPT coming out, and you could handle maybe how many characters you could handle, and now we're up to like 70 billion, parameters. And so what you can do in terms of processing power and how you could use that becomes really, really powerful. And in fact, I'm gonna show one piece here. I think this will jump to a video. So I say it's AI's her moment. Astra is the solution. And if you've seen this, I apologize, but this is just some really cool tech to see.
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AESCBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV.
Somebody should drop out of their chair right now.
That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London. It is known for its railway station and transportation connections.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Yes,
glasses.
I do.
Google glasses.
Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
What can I add here to make this system faster?
Adding a cache between the server and database could improve speed.
What does this remind you of?
Schrodinger's cat.
All right, give me a band name for this duo.
Golden Stripes.
Nice. Thanks, Gemini.
Right, so, my message to everybody here, if you haven't seen some of this stuff, is this is happening right now, and it is happening at a speed that you cannot fathom. And when all of this AI stuff started coming out, and ChatGPT, and everyone said, hey, the jobs are going to get destroyed, I told you IBM bought my company. IBM is in the middle of
At
this.
Google, we are fully in our Gemini era. Today, all of our 2 billion user products.
Let's get us back to our pre-zo. Right, so, oops, I can read this slide. So, if you look at what's happening with Gemini, and the capability this stuff is moving at is rampant. And I told my company IBM, IBM's making some huge moves here as well. They're building digital capabilities that are just absolutely amazing. They're building developer bots. So Gemini solution just showed you that they can actually look at a piece of code like that and diagnose what that code's doing. You can improve that code. These dev bots will write that code. There are bots that are actually testing solutions, functional testing, system testing, unit testing, and there are other bots that are business analysts that are actually helping define the use cases, the user stories, and the test cases that the test bots will use. And so I'm not picking on IBM, I think they're amazing, but their now stock is jumping. Why? Because they're going to remove a few $1 billion in salary, taking 8,000 salaries out because they can help their customers, and there's a race going on, right, to get this and be the leaders in this stuff. And it's coming very, very, very fast. Some of these parameter models are a good indicator, right? You went from characters to 70 billion context windows, and what you can process with it, and we're going to look at some of today, is amazing. On the other side of that, and I think we all know NVIDIA's in here at the mix of it, right? They're making the AI chips, and now a lot of algorithms and machine learning algorithms are embedded on these chips. When Microsoft builds that data center, it's going to take energy, I think the power of which it might take to power Manhattan to run that facility. So there's a lot going on in terms of power, chip speed, and having the horsepower and compute power in these data centers to deliver some of the things I'm going to show you today and that you just saw here, right? So that's not GA yet. I want Google Glasses more than ever before. But on parallel to that, this stuff's going on, right? So you've got Elon Musk and Tesla starting to talk about selling this robot. It's going to be available for $16,000. My 17-year-old's floor of his bedroom is finally going to be clean because I can actually send this robot in to take care of it, and he won't give me any flack when I do it, right? So Elon Musk also working on a big AI engine. Here it is, arms race is what's really going on here. And then this one, my head of innovation just sent me this one, 50,000 driverless taxi cab rides going on in the LA Valley every week right now, right? So we don't see it here, right now, but these capabilities and what they're able to do, and now NVIDIA is adding Gen AI to help drive those robots, right? So that they have that power and intelligence of some of the things you just saw on their own, right? So that's, and you kind of saw in the example I showed in the video that capability isn't just grabbing a document and giving you something back. It's making an inference. It has an insight. I won't say it's human thinking on its own, but it is doing some level of thinking on its own in its deep neural networks that they use to generate these things. So this is what's going on, and if you weren't aware of it, I wanted to level set us all. So what I thought, going back to 7 Summits, now 7 Rivers, enterprises need help to figure out where do I start? How do I do this? And that was the genesis of 7 Summits, and this is what 7 Rivers wants to do here in this region, in Milwaukee and beyond, but we're going to run it and build it here so that we can help show people how to exploit these technologies to get after their business right here and attack new markets. So we built this company. And I'm not going to go over all this because Dan will help me share this out, right, with people. I don't know if we have a place for posting presentations, and I don't want to make it a commercial, but there's, for us, we don't want to just move data around. We want to build a solution that changes your business, and I'll share some examples of that. And then we're not trying to move all your data. I'm partnered with Snowflake. You've probably heard of Snowflake as a cloud data warehouse. Databricks, very similar, more machine learning slanted, but another big data warehouse where you can keep all this aggregated data in a modernized place so you can use it to drive your own AI engines. They would all love it if you moved all your data, and for some companies that's the right thing to do. Just let's get on a path and migrate our data and start cutting it into business solutions and so forth. We're asking companies to think about finding a high value use case and purposely move some of your data over to that. And so we do consulting and experience in the tech piece, of course, and we have a way of doing the work. But really what this comes down to is helping people figure out where they have a use case or a problem in their business where this most quickly can get an advantage for them in a market. And we've put together a process, which I have other slides that will unpack this a little more readily. And the thinking here is that, and some people are someplace on this continuum already. So there's a data modernization continuum, and then there's applications and solutions that you can build for your business to modernize it, and that's all leading to what we're calling becoming a more augmented company. Right, I'll give you an example. I was talking to a law firm, and we showed them some cool tech that I'm going to show you today, and they said, how would we use this? Gave them a bunch of ideas, but the first idea I came up with is, why don't we just build you a paralegal? And this is a family-owned business, and they're like, we love our paralegals, we're not going to let our paralegals go. Well, part of our thinking is that, and it's the thinking we all need to have, by the way, during this period of rampant job destruction that's about to happen over the next 4 or 5 years, is that we're going to not devolve work and destroy jobs, we're going to evolve work. So we want to actually take the menial work, the remedial stuff that paralegals doing off their plate and have automatons take care of it so they can elevate. What are they going to do? They're going to take more work off the attorneys. What are the attorneys going to do? Well, they should go home and spend time with their kids, but they'll probably go close more deals, right? It's okay. But we're talking about taking the remedial work. So when we talk to a customer or prospect, we ask them, what are you doing? What is the parts of your workforce doing today that they don't like to do? We were talking to a large bank the other week, and on the commercial side, and they say, we hate this visa system because it's onerous. And there's a lot of detailed things and steps we have to do. Put a robot on that, right? And then tell us 10 other things that you don't enjoy doing. That's the stuff that's probably just remedial, and it's not letting them use their brain to go after higher order work. That's the next wave right now. And that's what we want to think about. And how we help companies think about it is around 5 core business spheres that every company has, right? So you have your employee motion in your business, finding people, hiring people, assessing people, growing people. You have your customer motion. You have your partner networks. I don't care if you're a manufacturer with distributors and OEMs, your software company where you're working with other software partners. You have partner networks, channels to market, and so on. You probably have some products or services, and you're operating your company. Inside each one of these spheres are opportunities specific to your business horizontally, but also industry-wise, where you could say, I would like to augment my company in some aspect. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to just spring the trap. I'm going to show you a really cool animated avatar that you can just talk to. We'll let a couple of you ask questions of Marcos today when I show him. But I don't want people to walk out of here today thinking, oh, Seven Rivers will come and help me build an avatar or a customer service agent. What we're doing with this Marcos capability is I'm inside that employee circle. And what employee? My sales team. Okay, what are you going to do with the sales team? And I want to walk you through how that works. And we're building something specific to augment the company and make it more capable. And how we do, if you take a look at this model, if I kind of tip it up counterclockwise, you can see I've got the foundation here with the data and applications we're migrating to these new ways of doing business with AI. And then once I have the foundation, I can really start to innovate and build new things. And so we built this thing we call the data native model. So at the bottom of the model, foundationally, is all your data. In the middle is this insights engine. Everybody sees insights and think, you mean like reporting and analytics. Yeah, that's there. Advanced analytics, what's that? That's machine learning. That's algorithms using data to create things. Create things for what? For high value use cases. Find me a use case in a business that's driving the high value. So I'm a bank. I want more deposits. If I have use cases that I know I could augment that would drive more bank deposits or cross-sell and upsell other services at the bank, like the credit card, or I bought the checking and I want the savings. If I have that use case and I can apply an agent to drive that through more, I'm going to end up getting more deposits and winning. So we aren't starting out with, hey, do you want to try some cool tech? We're starting out saying, what's the objectives of your company? And what are the things that really drive your business? And how could we find an augmented enterprise objective that if we tugged on it, we would drive more outcomes for your business? And those are the high value ones for any company. And fortunately, I'll be able to give you some nice case studies on this. But this model, in terms of the continuum and figuring out where people could start. And when we started Seven Rivers, we thought, okay, we're going to go after the first dot and we're going to build some smart apps. But things are moving so fast that we can now almost take down this whole model because we're using augmented capabilities to build our consultancy, our system integrator model. So the last piece of this, and I kind of leaned into it, companies are trying to figure out, how do I get started? How can I pick what to do first? And there's a lot of nervousness around this, and we're working with companies that are like, man, I was with one of our software partners and the sales engineers were there and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get replaced, right? And it's like, you can't think like that. You have to think about elevating your game because you can do a lot more and get the remedial work away. So what we do is we've built a series of workshops, and you're going to see a press release late tomorrow on a partnership we're announcing here in Milwaukee to run some of these workshops with Milwaukee Tech Hub, where you can come and register and we'll take you through some of this as a smaller business. We just come to a group of you at a workshop and you'll leave with a plan, with some level of plan. But what we're doing is we're having companies tell us what their goal is, outline their business objectives, everyone has them, and then we want to help you pick the green box. 4 or 5 good spots where if you tugged on those, they would pull on your business objectives, like deposit growth at the bank or cross-sell, upsell. Once we have the objectives in the green box, we run these workshops, we say, okay, a how question. How do you do that at your company? The answer to that question is a strategy statement. And then we take those strategy statements, just 4 or 5 of them, this is a methodology, and we say, okay, how can tech help us deliver those strategies? So we don't talk about tech till the end, right? We want to find a business problem, because these projects aren't going to get funded because the tech's cool. They're going to get funded because it's changing the company and taking them forward on this path. And so we go through an alignment step where we get everybody together and show them a lot more than I'm going to show you today to get them immersed in what's available. You have to be trained to think about, classically trained on what the tech is. Then we're going to go define some problems and pick out some objectives. And once we have those and we have the strategies and we've talked about tech, we have to assess and say, how are you going to do it at your company? What tech stack do you have? right? Do you need to get any more people? There's operational implications to building some of this stuff. Do you have to hire a particular role? And we end up putting together a plan and a budget, and that budget can be phased. You can plan it next year, but you're on your way and you have some thinking behind how to step into this. And you've hopefully along the way activated some people in your company. Like I'm at a very large life sciences company right now, and they have now named an AI czar for the company. I'll call him Marty because his name's Marty. I won't say the name of the company. CIO will get upset with me. So, we're going to work with Marty to help bring this in there so they can take it forward. We're a catalyst, if you will. I'll tell more about that story in a little bit. So what we've done is we've gone through with our AI agent that knows our business and a lot of other businesses, and we've generated a lot of potential augmented enterprise objectives. The green box. Here's some draft things that we could talk about. These are somewhat generic. We can do them horizontally. We can do them by vertical. I'm going to introduce you to Marcos later, so I'm hyping Marcos a little bit. Marcos will tell you what these are for your business. We can train him. So right now, what does Marcos know? He's an AI agent. He knows Seven Rivers Manifesto. He knows where all current customers are. He generates and consumes dossiers on our customers, and I'm going to show you one of those. He understands our offering set. He knows who we're partnered with and what their strengths are and how they fit our data native model. So we can actually consult with Marcos to generate things. And so we were at a manufacturing company a couple of months ago and talking with them about building these workshops. And they have 3 large operating companies. And we could have brought all of the presidents and their leadership team to one workshop, but my suggestion is you bring each one to do a workshop. And the executive that's our sponsor we're talking to said, yeah, but then you're going to have to pay for this workshop 3 times. And I said, but how cool is it going to be? Because all those business units have different priorities. So how are you going to pick what to do? But if you do the workshop and we write the plan and then we feed it to Marcos, how cool is it as a digital leader at your company to sit with your CEO in a room with Marcos and pick solutions that drive value across all 3 lines of business? And it's mind-boggling. I'm going to show you this, what's possible when you look at this. So this is just an example of, under the customer wheel of predictive customer analytics. Enhanced customer retention rates, right? Churn's a terrible thing. I don't care who you talk to. You go to a bank, private wealth, Baird, these are all people we talk to. I mean, if a customer churns, it's expensive, right? And you have to replace it. Software companies, same thing. You do not want churn. Can you predict through behavior if there's going to be churn and then have programs to intersect and meet that and accommodate that concerned buyer and fix that with data? Partner networks, cross partner data sharing programs. We're working with a company in Chicago that does a lot of, they own a large customer data platform. They have a lot of their customers' data, and they're building a data hub right now. And these large media companies that work with them are providing their customer data, and then it's being resold for marketing purposes. A lot of things change with Google in terms of what you can do in terms of getting data from that. This is going to supplant that in some ways. And then they're keeping 40% of the gain from that, and they're providing 60% back to the company that provided the data, who's then actually cascading it to some of their customers. But that ecosystem of data sharing is, for the company that's our customer, is going to be a $15 million annual business in a few years, and they trade for like 10 times revenue in their business. So that's a $150 million idea for them. That's the stuff that we want to unpack with companies. Another augmented piece, right, on talent. Now, does anybody in here have direct reports? Right? Do you love doing those performance evaluations? And so if you had an automaton helping you coach up people specific to what they're doing, and there's some such crazy solutions, and you sat doing a conversation and with permission had the conversations captured and all the notes were rolled up and available to you to just help you guide your way to that, that takes all the remedial piece away. And those technologies are available. There's I'm trying to think what the healthcare company is. If one of my team could remind me, there's a healthcare company that works with mentally challenged people, and they end up in a facility, and when they leave, it actually can listen to their voice and determine their level of stress coming and going out of that facility and how ready they are to be outpatient with that. we were talking to Advocate Aurora about solutions like this, and they're investigating the ability to have a doc sit talking to the patient, not having to waste time capturing notes because it all gets transcribed right away with insights shared back, but then that doc can spend either more time with the patient or get to more patients. So these are the types of real world solutions that are less about, I've handed a system a lot of my content and it can give me something back, or write an alliterative poem about a box of crayons, right? That's cool, but how would we apply that in a business? The next one here is more operational. There's a lot of examples here. Smart facility management, so utilization, reducing facility management costs with AI, quality control automation. When I think about manufacturers, there's a couple of companies we're talking to in town who took just think about the operational efficiencies and manufacturing and distribution. They took all of their sales data and brought it into a data warehouse, happened to be on Snowflake. They brought all of their inventory data and some of their invoicing data and cast as data. And the AI bots in the system would automatically look at the data and say, hey, you do not have enough sales coming in over the last 3 periods, and here's 4 overstock programs you should run right now to clear that inventory out. And it's all built on their own historical data. It's super powerful. And that's a company right here in Milwaukee doing this. It's really, really powerful in terms of optimizing their operation. So now over here we're talking about products. This is to me some of the coolest stuff. So predictive market analysis on new products. So you're building a new product, you've done all your market, you have your total available market, and you have tools that will actually predict and look at the competitive product. We have a large customer in the automation industry down in Chicago, parent companies in Japan, and we're building a solution for them to help with sales automation and sales enablement. It's another AI agent, but it not only can help guide the path toward the sales process and recommendation that seller is trying to make to a customer, but it puts it alongside all the competitive products and highlights all the differences and benefits for that's positive, not a negative sell, but how do you transact this product compared to your competitors? I mean, you can't even train that into a salesperson's head. It is absolutely too much. At 7 Summits, my first company, we had 17 big use cases we promoted. And we would make our employees play this cool digital game and they become certified to sell, right? It's a lot to expect people with large SKU catalogs to do it. We can have an agent helping them with all that and be at their fingertips on their phone. So there's a way of doing this. I don't know what any individual company here elsewhere would pick if you took one of those spheres, but we have a guiding way of going in and engaging those executive teams. We've done some of these workshops in a few weeks, like that large automation company in Chicago. They probably did a 3-month engagement. The workshop was very upfront. We picked 13 use cases, picked one, and we built a proof of concept right away. And we took it all the way to pre-production, and now they're demoing that in Japan in terms of what's possible. And we've got the rest of the use cases, and we can say what's next. So I think it's an opportunity. We've got another big, the health and life sciences company. They may buy our full workshop around all the core business spheres. It could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to work through all that over a period, but that might be how they spend their year this year, getting ready for 2025. So I've talked a little bit about Marcos. There's multiple levels of this, and some of the team that helped build this is here today. So let me tell you the origin story of Marcos. So I got invited to speak at Wisconsin Technology Talent Association, and I used an AI agent to build my presentation. Why not? I'm eating my own dog food. And during the presentation, I caught myself always explaining how this worked. And it is a mouthful, and it's in some ways non-understandable when I start talking about these large language models and agent swarms, and it's a mouthful. And the president of my company, a gentleman named Ben Kerford, was over at my house one evening, and I was kind of complaining about, we got to come up with a name for this thing. And he said, who's your favorite fishing guide in Argentina, right? Because when you sell your company to IBM, you go fishing in Argentina a couple times. And it was this gentleman named Marcos, and Marcos is amazing. We've become friends over the last few years. And I had a lot of pictures of myself with Marcos. And I said, let's call this Marcos. But one of the things I'm not going to talk a lot about today is ethical AI. So we didn't just take Marcos' pictures and use them. We actually got our attorneys to send Marcos a contract, and we paid Marcos a 2-year contract to use this avatar. We had some professional photographer that's taking pictures of him right now. Right now, all the pictures you're going to see of him are shots of him. He was standing next to me with a big fish, and I just kind of carved him down. And I took a product called Lensa and generated 200 avatars of Marcos from about half a dozen pictures. Then I took another product called 11 Labs, and some of my friends and colleagues down in Argentina got interviewed, and we made an English-speaking Argentine accented voice. And then we used another couple of different products and some of our own technology to bring this avatar to life so that he could actually speak. And I first introduced him at the AI Innovation Summit when AI luminary Tom Davenport was here promoting his book, All In on AI. I kind of was like the tertiary, like I wasn't like out there in front, but I got up and I showed this stuff, and it was mind-blowing. I'm going to show you that today. Then I'm going to show you what's next, because we're about to launch a series called Riverside with Marcos, where he shares insights and things. And then we're going to show you the one where you can actually talk to him. And it's amazing. And Marcos, I think he has a headache today, because I have a headache. I was telling some people. So he's a little slow today, but he's an alpha. But he's getting faster and faster, just like all this tech's getting faster. But we built them right here in Milwaukee. So he's multimodal, so you're going to see the avatar today, but you can just talk to Marcos. You can just be on your headset and be talking to him on the way to a sales call. You can prompt him. I think we're all familiar with prompting right now. But the prompts are pretty cool in what we can do and what he can build, because we've been training him for 7 or 8 months, hardcore. So again, we don't sell avatars. A lot of people are coming to us and say, build me one of those. I was at an insurance company the other day. They're like, we have Lydia. She's our chatbot. We want her to be an app. I'll do it all day long. But the important thing for all you to think about is I am in that employee sphere focused on talent, which is my sales enablement, my sales team. And I want to augment their capabilities. So what does Marcos do? Marcos does sales research, and he builds these dossiers. And I'm going to show you one right now. He does sales account training and preparedness. You're going on a call. It could be an existing account. That big healthcare and life sciences company, we did a demo of that to them, of their own Marcos. I think we called him Bob. And Bob went and pulled up some of their customers and put them at a table, and they noticed that one of those customers had gotten a big grant. And we were immediately in procurement. Why? Because when that grant happened, they could have sold them more genome software. And they don't even have those insights on their own customer. And they said, so when we're using this, it'll go out and search the web? No, it's live, always on the web. It will tell you when it happens. And they're like, my God, this is an $8 billion company having a oh my goodness moment, because people don't realize the full art of the possible with what's here. And so it could be existing accounts is my point, not just new prospects. Marcos builds sales call plans, creates proposals. He generates MP3 files that you can listen to on the way to the sales call. He comes up with 5 great ideas, and he's recursive. So he gives 5 ideas from the swarm, and then we feed it back to him and say, these are our ideas, give us 5 better ideas for this customer. And then we walk into a meeting, and then we're in procurement. But that's how everyone needs to be thinking about, and I always like marketing automation, marketing with AI, and sales enablement with AI are the things that move the top line. But if we actually do it right, your seller isn't doing all this menial work, and they're spending more time on the close plan and the relationship with that customer and getting more face time and thought time with them than the competitor is. And some of these tools, you'll even get on a call and they'll be listening. You have to be ethical AI. You have to let a customer know if you're recording a call and what you're doing. But it will listen for and prompt you and tell you, if they just said this, you should bring this up. It gets to be extremely powerful, and you don't have to memorize all of it yourself. So the effectivity of an individual seller goes through the roof. And then, Marcos is now for us. We're using all this for ourselves. In my 7 Summits company, I built online communities for business. I want to draw some corollaries, which I bring up both companies. So I would go to Allstate. Maybe you should build a good hands community. What would it look like? Well, here, look at our intranet. We call it the Hive. And they look at it and go, we need that too. That's the intranet replacement. And I had something to show. Am I going to show you? GPT? AI? I mean, it's just not visible. So Marcos and the capabilities we're demonstrating here are built on, it's cool to have the avatar, but we've built the technology and abstracted this into your tech, the React objects, that we can build multiple of these agents with multiple purposes, and it's using all the best stuff. And as soon as Arctic came out, we're integrating that. When the next one comes out, we're going to integrate that. So you have access to all of these in a swarm to drive your business. And then what's really amazing is we can run this on any platform. We can run it in AWS, we can run it on Google, we can run it in Snowflake, certainly, and that's one of our lead partners in terms of what we're doing. But we're using all the best of this technology, and we're running it in a container on all those platforms, so we can put it anywhere. And then we're designing it as an accelerator, and this is what really excites me because this worked really well in my prior company. We're bringing this intellectual property to your project. So instead of somebody paying a few $100,000 to get this built, we built it. I own most of it. I own all of it, but I'm going to change it for you, so then you own part of it. But we will go in with this starter pack, and you might only pay $50K, and then I just finish the project. And that's how we go to market against our competitor. I'm competing with some crazy big guys like Accenture and Deloitte, who want to move all the data and do the big project, but we'll come in and go, no, start here, move some data, and by the way, we can have this thing talking and integrated in your business in the months, right? Not larger cycles. And so that's allowing us to approach mid-market companies and divisions of Fortune companies to help them get quick wins, which I highly recommend as an approach. So I won't go through this deep tech slide considering our time, but Marcos is sitting in this top layer. He is an intelligent experience. He is an AI-infused smart app, and he has his own data that he's generating, working with your sales team, and that's going back into your data lake. And the behaviors the sellers take and the win rates and how things close, all of this is sitting in an ecosystem. So if you don't have the ecosystem, you're going to get stuck. And that's my call to action, right? If you have data, I don't care if you're a retail individual, I don't care if you're running Sephora inside of Kohl's, those beauticians are selling products and they're connected across the ecosystem, there is data sitting there that you could leverage to build it. For the law firms that I was talking to, one of the ideas was the M&A guys, they always go out and get rep and warranty insurance when they buy and sell companies, and they do a lot of research, a lot of data gets created, and then they file that in a record, no one touches it again. But there's a host of data that could be leveraged as an offering set to do a better and better job as those markets change. That's how we always want to be thinking. And then, so let me show you a dossier. I'll spring the trap on who this life sciences company is. All right, so I haven't signed this work yet, so this is public domain information, by the way. All ethical, AI. They didn't give me anything. So here's my disclaimer, right? These tools still hallucinate, right? You have to check what they're saying and be careful with that. And so we have teams that are working on that as well. It's getting better and better. But the first thing this did with Illumina is it gave them a Snowflake prospect rating. We don't do this with everybody, but we're working with Snowflake, and this is really helpful for them. It's distinguish us as a partner that we have this capability. So we can go in and look at some questions and give this customer a score. There's an executive overview on Illumina. There's industry challenges. How does it know this? Well, it pulled down all their 10K reports. They're publicly traded. It went and got all of their analyst transcripts that were published and turned them into text and loaded them into the large language model. It scraped every job board and said who are you hiring. I was on with a local financial company, and we were showing them their dossier because we knew them, and we said, hey, this is cool, let me show you. And they're looking at it and they go, how do you know what our DevOps tool is? That's private. Almost offended. And I said, well, you put it all over the job specs that it was required to have that if someone joined your company. Mind-blowing, right? So it's all out there. But we're using it to help us understand what they have available, because we're going to say, use what's available. We want to come in with a smart idea. We need to know where you're at and what you're using today. And so all this stuff is in their 10K report. It's been synthesized, business challenges that they've been reporting, their tech stack, like I just mentioned, mind-blowing. That we can just go get that. Didn't talk to anybody. Diagnosing. We came up with a lot of use cases for them. This is the real hard work of Marcos. Marcos knows what we do. He knows how we approach it. He knows Snowflake. He knows the use cases Snowflake's been really successful with because they're all published case studies. And so this dossier is extremely powerful to us to go to market. Here's some specific AI use cases, not just the data ones. This goes on and on. I'm not going to belabor it. But then that document gets I have I have a document, and it's vectored and it's sitting in a large language model along with everything else we do. But I also am getting a PowerPoint proposal summary of this that I could take to the customer with all this knowledge. And I'm also getting a MP3 file with the top 3 ideas, some fun facts, the icebreaker, everything for the salesperson. They didn't have to come up with any of it. You know, hate to say it, but goodbye Hoovers. I mean, I don't think we need this stuff anymore. They're just harvesting it and spending money to get it to sell their subscription. So this is a change in the market that's happening. So let me show you a little bit. This is Marcos. This is my fishing guide down in Argentina. So there's some really smart people in the room, by the way. I'll have you stand up and I'm gonna ask you, just get ready, because I'm gonna ask you to applaud these guys later. They're all in Milwaukee, machine learning specialists that came from different companies that are here building some of this stuff. We're going fast, and while they were saying this is gonna take a little, Paul, it's gonna take a little time to build this, I'm like, I need to show this next week. So I built the first one myself, and I'm nowhere near these gentlemen's capabilities, but I have some video renderings of the original Marcos that I want to show you today, and then we'll look at the new one and talk.
Seven Rivers is a pioneering technology and business services company focused on identifying high-value use cases where data modernization together with AI can deliver the most business value. Here is what we do. We deliver business value by creating experiential, data-native digital solutions powered by data and AI. Seven Rivers partners with Snowflake to help customers manage and monetize their data by focusing on high-value use cases and the shift to modern cloud data warehouses, while leveraging the emergence of mainstream AI to create innovative new solutions to take their businesses forward. Business modernization assessments and workshops. Data modernization.
So version 1 of Marcos I showed at the AI Innovation Summit. What's amazing about this is Marcos has everything about us, and he just did this elevator pitch. I didn't hand him this. He did the elevator pitch. Now we're launching, so let's say Snowflake comes out with their Arctic LLM. We talk to Marcos. We ask him what he thinks and how it could be useful. And now you're going to see this start to come out on LinkedIn. And my board of directors got really excited, and they said, I love to storytell, you could probably tell. And they said, hey, this guy's got to be the whole company. This is amazing. And they're talking to him. He should have a LinkedIn profile. Well, I wonder what LinkedIn would think about that. We need to swamp LinkedIn with avatars. I don't know how that's going to work. You know, but we raised $6 million, not $50 million, right? We're not building this. You saw what's coming from Google. We're going to show we're going to show customers how to consume this on the right use cases. That's our job as an integrator and a consultancy, but we're also using it for ourselves. And so we're going to be launching on LinkedIn a video series called Seven Rivers, by the way. And if you haven't picked up on the sevens yet, and the outdoor themes, I'll tell some stories afterwards if you hang around about why is that. In a nutshell, it's global. We're not building something. Why did IBM want 7 summits? It was built to be global. We were in Germany, we were in the UK. We were working with Boston Consulting Group in China. I mean, those global motions was because we said the company is going to be global from day one, and the same thing's true of Seven Rivers. And the outdoor themes are just amazing and fun, right? I'm not a climber. I had one of my early board of directors, when we went into private equity, came and showed me how to tie a particular knot so I wouldn't fall off the mountain. I just let him talk. I'm not climbing any of that stuff. But the idea is we can help customers reach new heights wherever they are in the world. Technology is ubiquitous. We can do it from Milwaukee. And that's the companies that we're building here, and that's what both these companies were held up to. So here's a Riverside update.
Greetings from the Riverside. My name is Marcos, and I am an AI agent created by tech innovator Seven Rivers. Just a quick note that Seven Rivers can help you capitalize on Snowflake's new Arctic LLM by leveraging its advanced features and efficiencies tailored for enterprise applications. Here's how. 1. Simplified data analysis. Arctic LLM's ability to generate SQL queries can streamline data analysis workflows. This means that data analysts can more easily generate complex SQL queries to delve deeper into data and uncover hidden patterns. 2. Enhance your data strategies and AI applications, optimizing both internal processes and customer-facing solutions. Seven Rivers. We make it real. Marcos, over and out.
So, again, we did the fun stuff, the over and out, the Riverside guy. all the content on what Arctic does and how you could take advantage of it. There were 4 corporate, that's all Marcos. He has it all. He saw the releases. He read what Cortex does. He saw the CEO at Snowflake's announcement, and he drafted this content for the purpose of either a blog post or whatever you want to call it. And it's, again, we're trying to propel ourselves forward in a market of competitors that don't have this. And so this last one is keyed. Now this is the one that I told you, this is new. This is days old. We've been working on it for a long time. We decided to spring it here so you all get to see it first. No one's seen this. I'm showing it at the MMAC tomorrow, but it also has some kinks to work out. It's a little slow. I put the chat window in because I want to be able to see what's happening. So the chat window will publish first, and Marcos there's no swarm on this yet. We moved all of our version 6 Marcos over to version 7. And now we've got to tighten all this up and give him more agents to speed this up. So he's doing all the work himself. He's doing it in Stride because he's digital. Let's just turn this on. Hi, Marcos. Imagine there's no delay.
Hello there. I am Marcos, an AI agent built by 7 Rivers, a pioneering technology services company located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am trained to answer your questions related to AI, machine learning, AI, large language models like ChatGPT and Google Gemini, and Snowflake technologies. I can also provide information about 7 Rivers and its services. How may I assist you today?
Marcos, how could a manufacturing company take advantage of artificial intelligence?
Manufacturers can leverage AI to optimize operations through predictive maintenance, quality control, inventory optimization, and personalized marketing.
Marcos, there's a company in the room called Center for Independence. How could they leverage artificial intelligence in their business?
The Center for Independence could leverage AI to enhance its services for individuals with disabilities. AI-powered tools can assist with personalized care plans, remote monitoring, skill development, and job placement, empowering individuals to live more independently and reach their full potential.
Center of Independence is in the room tomorrow. I just wanted to show you. This guy's not programmed to know any of this. He quickly figured out, so I know it seems like a pause, but he's out discerning who's this company, what do they do, they're helping with people, adults with disabilities. I mean, there's a host of cases. This is programmable. He's set up for light mode, which means he cannot say more than 2 sentences. He could create documents of stuff on Center for Independence, but we set him up with some different thresholds as we're developing him. So I have a couple more pieces of material to go through. So I just want to say for my, not self-serving, but for my own team, stand up for a second that's building this here in Milwaukee. Guys, stand up. If you're writing the code for this, get on your feet. Ken's at the back. Ken, stand up. This is my chief technical officer here. 2 of our machine learning guys. Amazing that we're doing this in Milwaukee. And that's the theme at MMAC tomorrow with the Milwaukee Tech Hub and this thing that Microsoft's doing to help us raise and make this region's going to become an AI center, which is, I just gave myself goosebumps. It is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm not back building a new company because I need more money. I'm building a new company to coach young people and create something that elevates this region. You're going to see another press release going out that my wife and I made a significant donation to Marquette, including stock in this business, because we want to give back now. And I think having this region become a major powerhouse in the Midwest, just watching Microsoft come here, everyone's like, oh, what do you think of that? I'm loving it. Now we're talking to them. We'll go partner with them too and build all this sitting on Azure for the data lake. So I was going to have some cards out and stuff and let you guys ask a couple questions here. We can do it out at the booth later, booth 703. And please stop by and you can see more. But I do want to show you a little bit more of how to think about taking this stuff back into your own organizations.
7.
So when you look at these capabilities, I want to remind you, I was in one core business sphere working on the sales employee to enable there's a lot of places you could decide, how do I want to help my company augment the business? And we have a way of getting after that, which I unveiled earlier. So I did want to give some takeaways here for people. And again, we're going to make this available, right? So why I decided to do 7. Marcos gave me 8, and then I edited them all because remember, Marcos can hallucinate and he's not me, but it gave me a great jumping off point. And I'm very transparent about all of this. And you all should be doing it. If you're not using GPTs in your own daily work life to help craft things, just don't 100% trust everything that it's as smart as you, because it is not. It doesn't understand all of your context. We've invested no small amount of time giving that gentleman all of our context. And he is seldom wrong when he comes up with something. So identify key takeaways identified by Marcos and edited by Paul. Identify business challenges. People want to go in and demo tech. We all talk about don't do tech just for tech's sake, but find a business area. We can help you with that. But you probably know some things in your own company that are business challenges. So find an area to pinpoint that is specific and will light up your management team. And if you are a management team, that will help your business find its way forward. And there's some examples in here with chatbots, but you're looking for a business challenge. Data collection and management is job 1. So let's just talk about what data is. Is it numbers and bits and bytes? Yeah, everything's bits and bytes. But it's proposals, right? So we have a couple of big companies that do some pretty bespoke, get some really big RFPs. And all the history of all the work they proposed and all the RFPs they received and all the proposals, there's software that does this, we can just go do it. And you let an agent like this do it, and it puts all of your proposals into an LLM. It vectors all of the language and sentences and then pre-builds that proposal. You still have to check it, but it'll tell you this answers to this section of the RFP. It'll map it all out. You tell it that's what you want. It'll also tell you if you shouldn't bid on that, because you've never beat those 2 competitors, and these areas here you're not very mature on, right? Some of these proposals, the companies we're talking to, with these big RFPs, it's $100,000 just to bid. Wouldn't you like to know when not to bid, right? And have all of that history brought forward. So don't think of data as just numbers. It's content. It's those analyst reports. I was up with a big manufacturing. We overpitched him because the 2 brothers run the company, and they invested in our company, and they said we got to get in on this. Great, but when we showed them the engine that could diagnose the 10K reports, these 2 gentlemen were like, put our competitor in. Let's see what they're struggling with. And then we were using prompting back then. They prompted the engine to help them understand how they could beat their competitors. And it wasn't like, you can go read that 10K report. I used to teach my employees, my sellers, how to read 10K reports and find a challenge that we could approach with our science back at 7 Summits, and we won a lot of business that way. My chief technology officer knows I like to sell this way, and he said, hey, he went on to Marcos and said, give me the top 10 banks and tell me what the top 3 challenges all the banks are having. I gave us 10, I put it in a table, mapped it all out, and tied it to all of our offerings. I mean, it wasn't 4 airplane rides with my guy Dave teaching him how to figure out how to get into Bright House Financial. It was done like that. So this is extremely powerful, but you have to get your data act and your content and things together. I think you could move pieces. Focus on your sales data, your proposals, where you win, who your competitors are, but start somewhere. But you have to pull the data to a common place, because these algorithms are going to be made for you now. Marcos is made for me and my company. What would it be for your company? Choose accessible tools. A lot of this stuff is out there and coming. We walked into that large health and life sciences company, and they bought everything. They're not going to buy anything new, because thank goodness they've got Snowflake. They've got Microsoft, they've got a lot of things, they've got Salesforce. We can use a lot of that as the backbone, and there are a lot of publicly available tools. Like I just mentioned how I originally built Marcos. That's not good enough to scale. I needed these gentlemen to build something that's much more bespoke and tailored. But what I talked about with Lensa and 11 Labs and stuff, I could build the prototype myself even. But there are accessible AI tools that you can use. Focus on quick wins. This is the most important thing. I don't care what you're doing. Change management. If you do something and it fails, you're not going to get another swing. If you do something too big, it's more likely to fail. So it's get the size of the use case to a place where you can win and show management what's possible, and build the flywheel in your company to get moving on this. We do a lot of things where we just go in as our workshops and the executives come in to kick off, and we're there showing a lot of the tech, and they're sitting in the room waiting for their point to get up and say, hey, we're launching this and I'm the sponsor, and they're watching it and they're getting it. We had one large management consulting company, I've got a couple minutes left here. We had one large management consulting company that actually had all of their senior partners in a community, this is 7 Summits, voting on who the next president would be and analyzing all their performance and their P&Ls. When the management team has to use it and they get it, everyone will use it. So think about strategies like that and doing something swallowable and so forth. This gets to some of the stuff Microsoft's doing and we're going to be doing it with the Milwaukee Tech Hub. Get educated, train your staff, get close to someone who is an expert. That could be us, that could be someone in your company, like Marty the AIs are, that kind of thing. And then if you're into this space, I don't care if you're on the business side or the tech side, you got to be reading about what's going on 10 minutes a day. And it'll be hard to distinguish you from someone who's really up the curve a year from now. But you need to start informing yourself on what's coming and watching a few videos. We may put a service together for that where we're helping people find things to watch and keep up. But these are my 7 key takeaways for today. Hope that was helpful.